Good Saturday morning. Very random and rare, me recording something on a Saturday morning walking out the gym, because it's not my usual, but it's not been a usual couple of weeks. My thumb, my wrist still aren't quite right. That's the first gym session I've done in about 10 days. I think about 10 days, 10, 11 days. Felt good to be back in there. Everything had to be a little bit adapted, which, I mean, frustrating, but at least I've managed to move a little bit. Certainly not as much as I would like to have done, and certainly not a normal session. But as I say, that is just, it's how things are right now. So basically what I did, I'll pop the little session up as I'm talking through it, but I sort of had to just do what I could, really, which essentially meant having to play around a little bit when it came to be honest, with everything. You think, okay, my thumb and my wrist are a bit buggered, so I can definitely do lower body stuff. But even with the lower body stuff, if I'm having to grip things, and I'm still having to be pretty careful and pretty cautious. So I just tried to play around a little bit. So I managed to do some cuffed lateral raises. So those felt pretty good, managing to cuff just about elbow height. So taking like my grip and stuff out of the equation, which makes a big difference. It means I'm not having to hold anything. So in terms of like my thumb's struggling to grip, like there's definitely a lot more freedom and movement in it, but it is still a bit sore, and I find it hard to grip things tightly. I've got a little bit of a grip strength back in there now, but even when Lara and I went out for sushi the other night, I was struggling a little bit to use chopsticks, and just to be able to apply enough pressure to actually, pick things up properly, which made for an interesting meal. But so that's been a little bit frustrating. So some cuffed lateral raises, and then I just supersetted those with some adductors. So the adductor actually felt pretty good. Again, I didn't go like as heavy as I have done before, because gripping in and like really pulling myself into the seat isn't something I can do very easily at the moment because the thumb and the wrist situation. So, but actually, this has given me one of those opportunities that I think a lot of people could benefit from, and myself included at times, pulling the load back to really focus on execution. This kind of opportunity is perfect for that. So stripping some of the load back off some of those lifts and just really making sure that I'm absolutely nailing my execution, really good opportunity for that. So standing lateral raises on the cables with the cuffs just under my elbows, and then supersetting that with the adductors. I then did a bit of a sort of cuffed chest fly, supersetted that with some leg extensions. Both of those felt pretty nice as well, like really nice sort of contraction in the chest. And then again, like pulling the load down a little bit on my leg extensions, just making sure I'm taking those right through, complete range of motion, fully contracting. Again, like leaving that load a little bit lighter than before, just because pulling myself into that seat, not that easy with the issues with my thumb and my wrist. So those were a little bit of a strange one as well. And then I did a bit of a weird one. I'll admit didn't feel great, but I tried to cuff above my elbow to be able to do a bit of a row. So I'd attached the cuffs to daisy chains just to create a little bit of additional space to move. So cuffs attached to daisy chains, cuffed above my elbow, just to try and like completely take out any kind of grip, any kind of lower arm. And those, as I say, they didn't feel great. Wasn't the worst movement in the world. It just wasn't, super smooth. It wasn't really easy to, to fully contract my back. But not horrendous in the grand scheme. And then superset those with with some seated leg curls, and again, seated leg curls actually felt really, really good. Similar thing, lighten the load a little bit, really made sure I was getting that full range, and really making sure the contraction in particular was absolutely on the money. So 6 exercises, 3 supersets of upper and lower body. Is it the perfect session? Is it the kind of session I usually do? No, but got me moving, got me back in the gym, managed to do a few bits and pieces, and to be honest, I just needed that as much for my head as I did for my body. And I'm probably going to go again tomorrow morning, and I'll just have another little play around and see what I can do. I'm wondering whether I might be able to do a bit of pressing if I can just strap my wrist up and then not lean too heavily into my thumb. I might be able to do some light press work. Might be able to do something like a hack squat or a leg press, or both, just to, again, keeping the weight relatively light, because I'm not going to be able to pull myself into those machines that well. But yeah, I think we'll be back again tomorrow to get another session done, because it felt good to be back after a decent break. And as I say, as much for my head as for anything else, I think I really, really needed that one. So yeah, decent session. You'll have seen the little movements that I've attempted to do. Other than the row, everything else actually felt pretty good, which is a nice feeling. Good morning. As you can see from the dark sky, it is early. It is, I don't know what time it is, just before 6:30. It's still dark. Car park's actually quite busy in there. I think everyone will have started to return back from their holidays in France. So what you normally find, August, everyone completely disappears. Everyone goes on holiday. And so people will have started to come back. This weekend just gone. And that means everyone's going to start getting back into routine. I have a feeling kids go back to school next week. I'm not 100% sure on that, because Louis is not at school yet, but he's going back to the childminders today. Lara's back at work after she's had a couple of weeks off. And then we actually go, so Louis is only back, Lara's only back for a week before we actually then go on holiday at the weekend. My parents are coming across. Lara's mum's coming down with us. And we've got a nice little family holiday to look forward to. So yeah, we are looking forward to that. But another session in the bags, and another little bit of a weird one. I'm not going to lie. I've struggled a bit, really, really unlike me, but I've struggled to sort of find that motivation to train since hurting my thumb and my wrist. Sort of not surprising, because they just haven't felt right. And so I've just not been able to push myself as I normally would. I've not been able to do my usual sessions. Trying to protect those so that they're not continuing to get worse, but equally wanting to be in the gym and do something. But yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a battle, and I'm sure plenty of people will relate. Usually, you'll find people struggle a bit to get back into the rhythm and routine after something like a holiday. That's like a really, really common thing. What is this car doing? Really, really common thing. People go away on holiday for a week or two and then find it very, very difficult to get back into the rhythm. I mean, it's part of the reason actually why I tend to train even when I'm on holiday, because I like that rhythm, I like that routine. It makes me feel good. And this has just been one of those sort of forced situations. If I hadn't have hurt my thumb, my wrist, if I hadn't have fallen off the bike, I wouldn't have had the time off the gym. My rhythm and routine would have continued, everything would have carried on as normal, and we'd be where we are. And I think that's been the hardest thing for me, just because it's forced and it hasn't been my choice to take the time off. It's definitely been harder to get back into that swing, and things still aren't completely 100% back to normal, so I am having to work around things. I am having to do sessions that I wouldn't normally do. I am having to pull back heavily on the weight that I'm moving. I'm struggling with a lot of things to be really intense with them, just because I've got, you know, the fear, the worry that I'll get slightly sort of caught, and then my thumb, my wrist just aren't able to support me and stuff. So it's one of those, really sort of tricky situations. And it probably came at a pretty bad time in a lot of ways as well. Like our whole routine was off. You know, Louis was off the childminders, Lara was off work. We were trying to enjoy more time as a family. I was, you know, doing the work that I needed to do when I had the opportunity to do it. And then I had to sort of just try my best to, you know, keep myself in some sort of rhythm. And it's tricky. It is tricky. You know, that's always the thing that sort of kept me pretty grounded. You know, being able to go to the gym, being able to have that thing is the thing that keeps my rhythm and routine there. And anyway, I am starting to waffle a little bit. This week's sort of general update, I'm actually half a pound down on average. Again, not overly surprising. I think I've trained twice since I fell off the bike now. So I think I've probably trained twice in about 2 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of fullness that's been lost. Like my muscles just simply haven't had the stimulus to sort of fill up. You know, they just haven't had any of that. So a little bit of fullness down. I wouldn't be overly surprised to see a little bit of a bounce back up reasonably quickly. You know, if I can find a little bit more rhythm and consistency in the gym this week before we then obviously go away and that all gets thrown out again. I think, you know, just order of the day at the moment is really just trying to get things healed as quickly as possible. And they're definitely improving, you know, that's for sure. They're not 100% yet, but they're definitely improving. And I just need to continue to, you know, give them the rest that they need whilst also trying to live life. Because, you know, one of the things I was saying to Lara the other day, it's actually really difficult because I know what I really needed to do was just basically do nothing with my hands for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, and they probably would have healed up pretty much completely. But because that isn't an option with life, you know, I've got a young child, I've got a house to run, I've got X, Y, and Z to be getting on with. It's not possible to do absolutely nothing. So let's hope that things improve very, very quickly now. But yeah, that is a little update for today. Half a pound up on average. I wouldn't expect to see any changes when I do check in with Christian tomorrow. I think it's just going to be really trying to find that rhythm again, trying to make sure that I'm doing what I can and, you know, continuing to heal as best as possible. Good morning. So check-in reply received, and I'll put the pictures up so you can have a little look at those. Probably not quite as happy with these pictures this week. Like last week, I actually felt, although I felt pretty rubbish generally, the pictures almost gave me a little bit of a pick-me-up, whereas this week's pictures, not quite as happy with them. Some of it may be down to my posing. Maybe I'm just a little bit tired. I have been back in the gym a couple of times, which you will have seen in the previous part of this video. As expected, when it comes to the actual sort of response and feedback, very much just about continuing to be as consistent as possible, building things back up where I can when I'm going to the gym, making sure that the healing of like this thumb and wrist is really the number one priority. We are going away on Saturday, so again, it's just about, you know, managing things, making sure that I'm doing everything I can as usual. Like what, you know, when we go away, I don't like to completely go mad, to be honest, because it makes me feel pretty rubbish. You know, I want to be as on plan as possible. We are self-catering, so, you know, it's going to be pretty much standard stuff when it comes to breakfast. Whether we go out and about, and it might mean that we eat lunch out, but then that's probably going to mean that we have dinner at home, or vice versa. We have lunch at home and then we have dinner out. It's pretty easy to manage things. We're going to be by the seaside, so hopefully there's going to be lots of, you know, really nice fresh like seafood stuff, lots of nice fish going on. but yeah, overall, I think it's been not bad. I feel, despite motivation being a little bit of a battle for the past couple of weeks since falling off the bike, I'm starting to feel things come back a little bit. You know, at the moment, my sort of process when it comes to being in the gym at the minute is almost like day on, day off. Like, go to the gym, see what I can do, push, and then just let, you know, thumb, wrist, and rest of the body have an opportunity to recover a bit, and not continue to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So yeah, that's my plan for the rest of this week. So that means I'll train. So today's Tuesday when I'm recording this little chunk of the video. So I'll go to the gym Wednesday. I'll probably take Thursday off. I'll go Friday. Saturday's the long travel day, so I won't go to the gym on that day. See what the situation is when we get down there. Potentially go early on Sunday, and then just take it from there and see how things are. But yeah, all in all, I'm just looking forward to sort of getting things back on track for, you know, this thumb in particular to heal up as quickly as possible, and just allow me to start getting back to what I love to do, because I've definitely been missing it. But I hope that does all make sense. I hope everyone is good. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing rest of your week. I will be back again with the next one. If you have watched right to the end of this video, comment pen, just to let me know that you're still there, you're still alive. Like it, share it, subscribe, do all the usual good stuff, and I'll be back again